can do it. Do I need a seconder, Madam Clerk? I think I do.
Yes, we do.
So if Janice Baker would second that.
I would, Mr. Chair.
Moved and seconded. Is anyone opposed? That carries. We have no delegations. We have one report, 5.1, terms of debt issue, an oral presentation from Julie Patini, Director, Treasury Services, Corporate Services. Julie, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Yanika, members of the Debt Issuance Committee. With me this morning is Scott Hodgson, Portfolio Manager on the Treasury Services team. On January 14th, 2021, the region received council approval to issue debentures in the maximum principal amount of $250 million on behalf of the region of Peel and $20 million on behalf of the city of Brampton, with a term not to exceed 31 years. On Monday, September 27th, the region launched a $150 million reopening of the Peel 2.5% June 16th, 2051 debenture. $150 million is split between the region and Brampton. The region has borrowed $130 million, with Brampton at $20 million. The timing of the transaction took advantage of stable market conditions and still favorable all-in borrowing rates. Global economies have been recovering, albeit unevenly, from the COVID-19 induced recession during the first half of 2020. Central banks have begun or are considering slowing the pace of quantitative easing bond purchases, and expectations are for short-term policy rates to begin to move higher in 2022 and 2023. While Government of Canada yields have moved higher since their lows in mid-2020, they remain low by historical standards. At the time of the issuance, the Government of Canada 10 and 30-year rates were approximately 1.35% and 1.85% respectively. Several Canadian provinces have recently provided fiscal updates, with revised deficits coming in much lower than previously expected. This good news was beneficial for the region, as Ontario spreads moved tighter by 1.5 basis points, reducing the pricing level for our debenture by a commensurate amount. General market risk tone over the past couple of weeks has increased, resulting in a more volatile market environment. Given the market conditions at the time of the transaction, the region obtained an all-in weighted yield of 2.928% for a 30-year term. Despite pricing approximately 0.35% higher than the initial issuance in June 2020, spread levels were lower than June, offsetting a good portion of the higher underlying Government of Canada rates. This transaction represents the tightest spreads versus Ontario for a long-term Ontario municipal issuer for at least 10 years, pricing at 17 basis points over the Ontario spread. Also, over the past several months, the region met with both Moody's and S&P for its annual reviews and had its AAA credit rating reaffirmed by both agencies. In addition, staff continue to engage with investors through municipal conferences arranged by the syndicate, as well as one-on-one meetings with investors throughout the year. Our recent remote work environment has enabled us to reach a broader investor base with global reach. Overall, Peel credit remains attractive, and the transaction was well received by investors, as we saw participation from 20 unique investors. Thank you for your time this morning, and we're happy to take any questions you may have.
Very good. Are there any questions at this time? I don't know if it's a question or a comment, but the chair has one. Just a little euphemism from me, a little anecdote. There's a phrase that I love with regards to national governments when they go broke, which happens from time to time. And the phrase is this: it's not your government that decides to go broke. It's when others won't lend you money anymore that you go broke, which is true if you look at world history. It is remarkable to me, unsexy as it is, how proud I am and our corporation should be of the simple matter that's going on right now. We're one of 7 governments with a AAA credit rating. People are dying to throw us money at the most preferred rates in the world. That's the situation we're in. And to me, that's a barometer of how great our, I guess in total, 9,500 employees between us and the Peel Regional Police. That's a litmus test and a testimonial as to the overall health and well-being of this corporation. And we are shipshape. So to Janice, to Gary, to the whole team, to the last person on the list, and we're all equals, the last employee and the first of all 9,500, you have no idea how proud I am as the chair to deal with matters of this kind, unsexy as they are, but I don't know that anything is more significant. So that is my comment on the file, that this just makes me so proud, and it speaks to the work that 9,500 employees and everybody that's come before us. This didn't happen yesterday. This is 30, 40 years of work. And this is an external testimonial on how well this place is run. And I want to thank all 9,500 people that work for us, because this is the proof from outside agencies and 2 rating agencies and people that want to give us millions of dollars at the lowest rate they can get to say, carry on because you're doing good work. So this is a big day. So I'm very proud of all of you. I'm going to ask our CAO to move the motion. I'm going to ask Gary to second the motion. Any other speakers to the motion? Does anyone object? That carries unanimously. I need a bylaw, Madam Clerk. Is that correct? I'm going to ask Janice and Gary to move that bylaw. Any speakers or anyone in objection to the bylaw? That too carries. Any other business anybody wants to bring forward?
Mr. Chair, you really stole my thunder, but you said it so much better. I'd just like to thank Julie, Scott, Tarek, and the whole team. This is what happens at the bottom of the iceberg that the public doesn't see. But without those foundations and that attention to detail and working closely with all our partners externally, it wouldn't work as smoothly as it does. And I appreciate all the help that they do. So just wanted to add my thanks also. Thank you.
And Gary, thank you, because I took praise internally for our external partners and well. And let's give them a pat on the back because we've worked marvelously together. So I'm glad you acknowledge them as well. If Janice and Gary again would move my confirming bylaw.
Yeah, I'll move it, Mr. Chair, but since everybody's chiming in, that also comes with strong political leadership. You do understand that. So I am very mindful that, as you said, all that came before, but it is also council being willing to make sometimes the difficult decisions that come with fiscal sustainability. So, you know, there's kudos on all sides. So thank you, and I'm happy to move the bylaw.
And I'm glad you mentioned that to our board of director council members that have made the individual decisions over the years that have gotten us to this point. Very well done, Jen. You've moved the confirming bylaw, seconded by Gary. Are there any objectors? Hearing none, I have a motion to adjourn from Janice and Gary. All those in favor, any opposed? That carries with thanks. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody, for your support.
Thank you.